Hello, everyone. It's great to be part of the Festive Tech Calendar 2025. And this is the most favorable time of the year. So I'm Cynthia Kyoto, a cybersecurity architect. And today I'm going to be talking about who is assessing what: data security and identity visibility in Santa's AI workshop. We know it's the favorite time of the year. Santa is busy with his little helpers, the elves. Elves are spreading rumors. Of course, the naughty ones are involved in spreading rumors or even supporting Santa in checking the nice list and wrapping up gifts. But even with that, are there proper guardrails and controls in place? So today, I'm going to be talking about data security and identity visibility in Santa's AI workshop. Who is assessing what? Of course, we know 2025, I would say, was the year of AI agents. I'm sure every conference you went to or every videos you watched, something about AI or agents even popped up, or conversations around how productive or security concerns about agents. Of course, in 2028, it's estimated that there will be about 1.3 billion agents in our ecosystem, so working on with us and on our behalf. And that is why I'm talking about frontier firms. Now, I'm not talking about company size. I'm not talking about industry or just the hype. In our organizations, we now have humans working, AI assisting us, summarizing our emails, generating content for us, and even agents or in automating our workflows. This is the possibility of what a frontier firms have to offer. Now, value is not just being gotten from humans alone, but with humans being supported by AI like your co-pilot and even agents, bringing up values in our organization. Of course, lots of organizations have started to see the benefits in leveraging agents across sectors, from your cybersecurity, the retail sector, and lots more. But then there are still concerns, or there are concerns. This shows the concerns that every organization asks, every CISO is asking, every security personnel is asking. How do I get complete visibility into all agents operating across my organization, operating across the ecosystem? How do you get complete visibility into agents in your organization, the third-party agents, agents across different platforms? How do you know what these agents are doing? Agents across the SaaS apps in your organization. How do you know the access level? What documents can this agent access? What tools can they communicate with? Which data can this agent see? How can they generate information from this data? Do they have access to sensitive information? How can you check every activities that these agents are doing? Auditability. And ensuring that these agents do not go beyond the tasks they are meant to do. The major concern of most organizations as well is fragmentation. Tools across different parts of your organization in isolation, not communicating. And this can also give rise to difficulties in discovering these little elves that I will call in your organization. So agents are here. Of course, they are here. We are not arguing anymore. And they are here to stay, to make life easier and simpler. But who is in control? And this is why I'm talking about today Microsoft Entra Agent ID. Aside that this is a Microsoft tool, I'm going to talk about the principles, first of all. This is beyond the tools. This is the principles. It's built on the principle of registration, governance, and protection. So basically, how can you control what you cannot see? How can you control that agent in your organization when it is not even visible? You don't even know it exists. How can you onboard all these agents to ensure they are visible before you start even thinking about governance? The purpose before permission. How can I ensure that there's proper lifecycle management in place, proper permission and accountability? And lastly, protection, which gives that enforcement. How can I enforce boundaries? Ensure that these agents are acting within the stated procedure or process in which they are meant to do. Ensure that signals can communicate properly to ensure agents are gaining access at the right time in a proper and secure way. So this is what Microsoft Entra Agent ID is all about. And it's part of the Agent 365 ecosystem. So basically, registration gives you that discoverability, that visibility, and the governance gives you the control, the purpose, the permission, while the protection brings about the enforcement to ensure that agents within your ecosystem are treated as first-class identities, just like we do not allow humans or employees gain access into our systems without proper guardrails, proper real-time protection in place. I said earlier, you can't govern what you cannot see, and you can't govern what you can't discover. This is where discoverability plays a role in our ecosystem. Most organizations do not have many agents. They have many invisible agents. Agents beyond their control, agents without proper visibility. So when you don't see an agent, how can you enforce governance, guardrails, and how can you then enforce protection? That is why discoverability is about ensuring that all these agents are properly onboarded, cataloged, so that they have identity. Once they have proper identity, then you can ensure that their metadata is also, you can also have information about the metadata of these agents, as well as how these agents can communicate with other agents, communicate with humans, what kind of tools do they access with. Like this ecosystem you can see here with discoverability being the center, is telling us that Microsoft Entra Agent ID basically is not all about Microsoft. It spans across your agents deployed across your ecosystem, from partner systems, third-party applications, as well as agents in your developer environments. Let's talk about Microsoft first of all. With Microsoft Entra Agent ID, you can then access agents even deployed in your Microsoft Azure Foundry, where developers develop agents, in your Copilot Studio, in your LinkedIn, your Microsoft 365 ecosystem, your Microsoft Security Copilot agent, as well as other partner ecosystems across Workday, ServiceNow, Zscaler, too numerous to mention. And this also bridges the gap of where organizations complain about fragmentation, where an agent is in a different SaaS application and it cannot be traced within your ecosystem. So discoverability ensures that unmanaged agents or shadow agents are now changed to digital work identities that can be controlled. Because once agents are discovered, and registered, then we can now talk about governance. So this shows in Microsoft Entra Agent ID. This is the agent registry. This is what it looks like, basically. I like to call this the identity registry of AI agents. At the left side of it, you can see the one predefined by Microsoft, where you have the global agents and the quarantined agents. These are agents where you already have information about these agents, their security baseline, and their trust. So basically, the global agents are the agents that are usable in your ecosystem, usable in your organization, that everyone in your organization can make use of. The trust level has been checked to see that, oh, these agents can be used in our ecosystem. Then the quarantined agents are agents that are flagged or agents that could be risky. And these agents are grouped under the quarantined agents. And this tells us something, that not every agent in your organization, not every agent should be pushed to your production. And not every agent can be used. Some agent needs to be contained. Then with Microsoft Entra Agent ID, as an organization, you are given the privilege to create your own custom registry where you can group agents based on their business context. So you can group your agents. Maybe you have sales agents, productivity agents, you have HRO agents, and you can group them into those different boundaries. So basically, it makes it easier for agents to be discovered. So productivity agents can communicate with each other. And at the same time, it creates that boundary as well that lets us know that sometimes the productivity agents might be useful or even catastrophic to the HRO agents. So those groups or the productivity agents can communicate with agents in productivity, but might be harmful to the agents in the sales environment. So it helps us to group agents based on maybe the business context. Now that we've seen that, yes, we've talked about the registration. So let's see what governance is all about. Like I said earlier, governance gives that control. We need AI agents, yes, in our organization, but AI agents need rules and real-time automation. Just like our elves helping Santa in wrapping gifts, but sometimes those elves could go beyond their boundaries, going to check the nice list without Santa's permission. So now, with Microsoft Entra Agent ID, you can govern agent identity and life cycle of these agents. The first one I like to talk about is human accountability. So putting a human in the loop to control agents. So with Agent ID, sponsors are assigned to these agents. So with these sponsors, you know that there's a human that controls the activities of these agents, and to ensure that the agents are not left behind without proper controls in place. And also, once a sponsor exits the organization or changes role, these agents are assigned another sponsor. So this is where we talk about human accountability by design. Life cycle control, just like as human identities. We come into the organization, we change roles, and we acquire different permissions and also exit the organization. So agents are onboarded into our organization, they gain access into our resources or where they are meant to gain access into. And sometimes these agents should not outlive the ecosystem and become untrustworthy agents. So basically, from the onboarding stage to the retirement of these agents. These activities are tracked and automated. And there's least privilege identity-driven access based on the identity governance entitlement management to ensure that these agents only gain access to the resources they are meant to gain access into and not going beyond that as well, giving that just in time and just enough access. As humans in our ecosystem, before we gain access into the system, like in Microsoft Entra or Microsoft ecosystem, there's the question of who is this identity? Where is this identity accessing our resources from? What is the state of this identity at this point in time? Is the risk level very high? Should we grant access to this identity? Should we grant them restricted access or block access right away? So also these processes are also put in place for agents through the conditional access policies. So conditional access policies for agents, while gaining access into our resources, gaining access maybe from a platform, ensuring that they are right at the right time, at the right place before gaining access into our ecosystem. Adaptive risk-based decision and dynamic restriction. When agents are at a high risk level, you can also set it to block those agents at that point in time in gaining access to our resources. Also, checking their insider risk level as well to see if it's elevated and you block access right in time. All this is not done by human, but it's an automated process, just like it is done for identities within Microsoft Entra. So basically with this, it gives that identity visibility, identity control, and identity enforcement of AI agents. I've talked briefly about Microsoft Entra Agent ID. If you didn't take anything from that, what I want you to take something from that first phase is you cannot govern or protect what you can't see. So basically, Microsoft Entra Agent ID is here to govern and protect agents as first-class identities, just like the way we govern humans in Microsoft Entra. And Microsoft Entra Agent ID extends beyond your ecosystem, extends across your ecosystem, from your custom agents deployed in your organization, your partner agents deployed in your organization, and you can also onboard those agents using custom SDKs as well. So that is what identity visibility is all about. Now, data is the new oil. For the past 2 years, I learned that we have generated about 90% of data, more than data that has been generated for how long? That shows that data travels. No longer are we talking about just data storage. We're also talking about data movements, how data travels across our ecosystem. And it has become so complex that data travels into your co-pilot, your agents, humans are using data, everyone is collaborating, your on-prem, your cloud. So now the big question is data security in the age of AI. Just like these elves, the little elves you can see around in Santa's AI workshop, helping Santa in wrapping gifts. But sometimes they can sneak into information. Check details of Santa's secret list. Check details of lists that they are not meant to see and start spreading rumors across North Pole. Just like these elves. So also in our organizations, apart from humans We now have co-pilots. We have agents deployed in our organization. Who is assessing what? So now the question is, what are they assessing? And how can we ensure they are assessing that information at the right time, in the right place? So data security in the age of AI. Data is moving faster. Even so, the risk as well has become amplified. Oversharing is not the cause of AI. Data exfiltration is not as a result of AI. It has always been there. But with AI agents, it amplifies data movements. Agents, they work 24/7. They are very hardworking. They don't go on sick leave. They don't complain. So also they move data very fast. So it amplifies data movements. Data across tools, data across agents communicating to agents, data with agents communicating with humans. Sensitive data spreads across your ecosystem, from the cloud. Maybe you use multi-cloud, you are using Amazon, you're using Google, your workflows, your SaaS, data and tools are communicating. Therefore, traditional DLP is no longer enough, because traditional data loss protection or prevention is static, reactive. And they do not even understand context. The data attack surface has multiplied. Agents communicate with agents. They make use of data, tools, knowledge base. You have your co-pilots communicating with humans communicating with co-pilots, summarizing information, data on your on-prem, data in the cloud. So the attack surface is wide. Even now, agents communicating with prompts. You communicate with your agent using prompts. So we had files. We talked about files then as humans. How do we move files around the place? Now we're also looking at prompts and lots more tools of data movement across tools. So data is moving faster, and so are the risks. The data security visibility gap. This is what most organizations are facing. It's so difficult. Most organizations, they have the tools, they have the technology in place, but yet the gap still remains. Unknown sensitive data location, like I've talked about, data across several of our data across our estates. We are no longer talking about data storage. Now we are talking about how is our data transformed, moved across ecosystem. Overexposed files, where there's permission drifts, information shared with no proper permission to anonymous accounts, unmonitored AI data access. Unmonitored AI data access can be even in sanctioned or unsanctioned applications, your personal tenants, development sandboxes, or even external AI platform in your ecosystem. Shadow application, unmanaged stores, weak labeling. Some organizations have protection in place, sensitive labeling, but the policies are inconsistent. So when you have an inconsistent policy, it's as good as having nothing. And then there is no intelligence layer in place that understands context, because with the age we are in, the age of AI, your policies, your automation needs to understand context. So some of the tools and technologies we are using are contextually blind. 86% of organization leaders, security leaders, are looking towards having integrated tools, integrated technologies that can speak with each other, not in isolation. So not you having an identity and access management tool somewhere in isolation to your data governance or data security tool, or you have a data loss prevention tool somewhere. Insider risk is separate. The signals do not correlate, they do not relate, they do not communicate. It's as good as not having security in place. Analysts. The job of a security analyst is one of the toughest jobs I know ever, because they are triaging alerts, trying to look at ways to remediate alerts, and with AI, alert overload. How many can a human actually control? More than half of data security analysts cannot even review alerts daily, not because they are not capable, but because of the alert overload. And now, like I said earlier, AI is here to stay. AI adoption is growing. 82% of organizations plan to use Gen AI in data security and governance program. And I think that's a good thing. It shows that organizations are becoming AI conscious and looking at ways to manage their organization data estate or their ecosystem at machine speed. In the age of AI, we do not need fragmented tools. We need tools that communicate, that are consistent, and they understand each other. And this is why I call this the intelligence layer behind modern data security. In Microsoft Purview, there is now the Microsoft Data Security Posture Management, the Microsoft DSPM in Microsoft Purview. And the good thing is that Microsoft has expanded DSPM. So instead of having DSPM for AI, they have come to realize that there's not just one thing as AI data. Let's bridge it and bring it together and make it an expanded data security posture management. And data security posture management becomes the one-stop shop in managing your data, managing the security aspect of your data, from information protection, talking about how information or data is classified across your ecosystem, from the on-prem, your cloud, how is this data protected? Then talking about the activities, how information is being shared across your ecosystem. How is this information shared by humans? How is this information shared by AI? All of that. How is this information shared with your co-pilot using the data loss prevention? And what about user activities? Checking if there are anomalous user activities. Flagging something when you notice suspicious about a user, downloading information, downgrading label. And now this is called insider risk management. Insider risk, we used to talk about just humans. Now even agents are also part of insider risk as well. So this also extends across AI and the agent ecosystem. And that is what data security posture management is all about. So with this, I'm sure we have come to realize that as it is part of Microsoft Purview, it extends beyond your Microsoft ecosystem. It covers other partner ecosystem, which Microsoft has integrated as well for Purview to be able to get signals in those different areas. This is beyond a tool or beyond technology. This is about intelligence layer behind modern data security, ensuring that signals correlate across our data estate and data ecosystem. So basically, DSPM tells you where your data is and how exposed your data is. from the discoverability to the remediation phase. It discovers data in your ecosystem across areas, maybe using even the scanner to discover data, even in your on-prem, classify this data, monitor data, there's continuous monitoring, and give you ways to remediate any risk it observes before it becomes a big issue for our CISOs or becomes a big havoc in board meetings. Of course, when you start getting those kind of board meetings, there's a big breach or something that has happened in the organization. So I'm going to take you through. This is Microsoft Purview, the expanded DSPM. So what this does is you can have this as the one-stop shop where you can discover your apps, discover your co-pilot, conduct protection, insider risk management, and everything across your data security. With DSPM, it has made life easier where you can just, sometimes as an organization, we are confused on where to start from. So it gives you that objective. So let's say you have an objective, maybe to check for sensitive information or remove exfiltration of sensitive information in your organization. With that in the objectives, so that is set outcomes. There's even AI observability where it observes the agents and apps across your ecosystem. Conducting data risk assessment as well, checking your top sites, checking them across your top SharePoint sites, see the information shared across your SharePoint site, the most risky SharePoint site, the most risky item in your SharePoint, for example. There's also reporting and lots more. So with this DSPM, basically you can see a snapshot, first of all, of your data discovery, data protection, and data investigation. So, of course, I said analysts suffer from data overload. So with the data investigation here, you can see that data security alerts triage was about 73%. Activities covered by DLP, and you can easily click into this and drill down. So it gives you that key insight, first of all. The next is I talked about setting objective. So let's say in your organization, the first thing you want to look out for is maybe prevent data exposure in Microsoft 365 Copilot interaction. It takes you to that objective. All you have to do is click on to review. You can click on review the objective, check Copilot prompt, or even view remediation plan. And it gives you the stages in which you can remediate any form of data exposure in your Copilot interaction, oversharing of data, risky information, and all of that. So we have prevent exfiltration to risky destination. I've clicked on that, and now with that, you can see the objective here. Basically, we have an objective to prevent exfiltration to risky destination. It shows us that trend across your device, your email, your cloud, and even gives you the impact of the remediation plan. So assuming you want to remediate this to mitigate any form of risk, it tells you the impact it will have on your ecosystem. So you basically can see the trends across dates as well. A good thing is the information it gives you, it drills it down from the higher to the most detailed information you require, just in case you want to review a particular part. For example, here you can see files exfiltration risk pattern across files exfiltrated to personal accounts. You see it across Gmail, Google Drive, Outlook. You can also see departing users transferring files to sensitive information. How are they sending this information? Are they sending it through USB? Are they sending it to their personal emails? Are they uploading it to personal cloud? So it gives you that detailed information, gives you information about risky users. And that can also help you understand, oh, disgruntled users, or maybe departing users. So these are high-risk users that you have to put proper insider risk management in place. Top exfiltration activities in your organization. Which one is more? Maybe removable media. You can then go ahead and block the use of USB, transferring details or information using USB in your organization. Is it through print? Then it gives you a hint of, I need to do DLP or endpoint DLP. Is it to personal cloud storage? So all these are detailed for you. So you see this as well. With this, it breaks it down again to the details of this personal account and who these users are. And you can easily see it here as well. With that, you can then look at, like I said earlier, you can look at the estimated impact on the risk pattern before you remediate. So remediation can be in phases. Probably you may need for a particular activity to prevent expiration to risky exfiltration to risky destination. You might decide the remediation plan might be one, it might be more than one. So here we have prevent loss of sensitive data, detect and remediate potential insider risk. So then you can carry out these remediation plans, apply it to your organization or data estate as a one-stop shop. And then you have that policy in place to ensure that there are no risky exfiltration of information across your data estates. The next is about turning signals into decision. I said we have AI, we have agents across our organization. So agent ID has given us ways to observe them, but we can also observe this AI as well in Microsoft Purview. Track the AI agent access, track their prompts, assess them, and investigate their activities to see if we need to remediate, triage alerts that need attention as well, and see we need to do this right now before it becomes a big issue. Turning signals into decisions. First, I'm showing you AI observability, which is in preview in Microsoft Purview. So it gives you key metrics like the number of apps and agents across your organization. So the apps, agents, maybe your partner, even your partner agents. As far as Purview is clicked on those agents, you can easily see those agents, irrespective of their location. Or you have an agent that you develop outside your ecosystem. As far as those agents are onboarded, you can easily see these apps and agents across your organization. Now, just like we have high-risky users, you can also see agents that are of high risk. And that gives you a way to be able to put controls in place, maybe block them from doing certain activities in your organization. How agents interact with sensitive information, from oversharing to exfiltration to unethical information as well. You see the details of these agents, the granular information from the name, the status of the agent, their risk level, their activity, and the policies already in place for these agents to see if these policies are effective enough or if they need to be updated as well. So we've seen that. I talked about insider risk. So with agents as well, humans, we used to check on humans for anomalous activities from downgrading labels, sending information, maybe sensitive information to their personal email, a disgruntled user. Now, agents are also insiders. So just like we have seen that there were high-risk agents, we can now track those activities of those agents using insider risk to see their agent activities, the sequence of activities that have been carried out by these agents. And it can also be, you can track them here and through the plot as well. Here you see details like this place, you can see that it accessed sensitive files from SharePoint and attempted to send email to an external recipient, but there was a DLP policy in place that blocked that from happening. So it's easy to flag all these agent activities, because agents are faster than human. We know that something that might take a human weeks might just take the agent minutes to do. So with this, it tracks every information and every activity that has been carried out by this agent, especially when we set a policy for high risk agents. Granular information, you can access the activities of these agents from the Activity Explorer, check timestamps as well across a particular timestamp, see what they accessed, maybe accessed Copilot, they accessed Outlook, where was this agent accessed, what MCPs or tools did they access as well, did they access MCP, are they connected to a particular tool, a particular knowledge base? You can see these as well. Another key thing I like to talk about is risk assessment. In data, I always see data protection and data security in three phases. It's about being able to discover your data. Once you discover what your data is, how do you classify it? Protecting your data as well, ensuring that there are proper policies in place, DLP policies and all, and also investigating data in case if there are certain activities that have gone wrong. How do we investigate and remediate them as well? So data security, the data risk assessment give you that stage to assess information, maybe assess sites, for example, your SharePoint sites, or even in Microsoft Fabric now as well, identify it, protect, and also monitor activities. This is continuous and in real time. So here we can see data risk assessment. You can be accessed. It was just in Microsoft 365. So you could conduct data risk assessment across your SharePoint site and all Copilot. And we even have the SharePoint Advanced Management. And now it is being extended to Microsoft Fabric. So with data risk assessment, apart from assessing it at folder level, you can now assess it at the file level. So apart from assessing it at the SharePoint site level, now you can now assess items within your SharePoint site. So basically, this is a case study now of a particular SharePoint site, finance data assessment, and it shows that there are 136 potentially overshared items detected in that particular site. And it gives us a breakdown on the assessment details, also tells us the sensitivity labels being applied to those items. How are those items shared? Are they shared to a specific people, or shared using anonymous link, or shared to anyone in our organization? With that, we can have a view of how information move, how sensitive data move across our ecosystem. Now, here is where you can put remediations in place. So now this shows us a site with items, several items in it. With this one, assuming we have done the remediation manually, you can easily click on resolve and you take it and it shows resolved. Let's say we remediated the Contoso status document 1, you tick that and click resolve. Or we notice an overshared file, you can notify the owner of those items, or more actions like removing that link from being shared totally. So it can go from like a more stringent or a lenient way. You have all those in place for you to do in the data risk assessment. So now for this particular Contoso merger strategy, an email can be sent to the site owner. So the site owner can then review it and see if it requires removal of the permission of those links, maybe to outsiders and all. So the site owner can also review it. And once the site owner reviews it, it can tick on it being resolved or not as well. So once you click this, send a notification to the site owner receives that information, directly accesses the link, and sees ways in which it can remediate this particular item so that it does not create any form of exfiltration of sensitive information to maybe unknown sources, or let's say personal email, or to outsiders, or if it needs to be constrained to a particular set of group of people as well in the organization. Now, once this is done, you can either, it clicks remediation, you can click resolved and it's remediated. Another one is the hammer approach, where I will say you totally remove, conduct another action of removing the sharing link totally. So that item can no longer be shared, especially when we notice it's a sensitive information that is being shared to anyone. So as the admin in Microsoft Purview, instead of notifying the owner of that site, you can just easily do the security here by removing the sharing link totally, or maybe applying a sensitivity label for better protection. So maybe it was a public, it had a wrong sensitive label, and you can change it maybe from public to confidential as well. So you can remove the sharing link or apply sensitivity label as well. Then this is my most favorite part. Purview, Microsoft Purview. I've talked about how security analysts are bombarded with alerts. It's crazy when you have hundreds of millions of alerts to attend to and you don't even know where to focus on, or which of them to prioritize, which is urgent or which is important. Then we have the data security admins who are ensuring that these policies are properly in place, checking that policies are in place, ensuring that they are properly configured. So what this is bringing about the data, where there's communication between the data security admin and the data security analyst. And another thing I like here is Microsoft as well has seen that most times the role of a data security analyst is totally different from the role of the data security admin. So the data security admin is on the proactive side most times, ensuring that policies are properly in place, they are properly configured, there's no misconfiguration. While the data security analyst is involved in triaging incidents, checking alerts, which alert needs attention, remediating these incidents and alerts as well. So these personas were brought into the data security posture agent and the data security triage agent. So the triage agent basically prioritizes these incidents by impact and recommend containment and reduces fatigue or alert fatigue, I would say, where it focuses, tells the analyst to focus on alerts that need urgent attention as well. So let's see how the data security triage agent is, or what it does in Microsoft Purview. Right now, I'm in the data security triage agent. So you can have this focus on agents that need attention, or agents that are not even triaged, that have not been triaged. So we have about 387 agents that have not been triaged, and we have agents that need, we have alerts that need attention, which is 4. So right now, the analyst can then focus on this particular alert and conduct a remediation on this alert. So it's easier to then have that focus activity instead of going through all alerts and sometimes finding it difficult to know which is of importance or urgency, which is urgent at the same time. And with that, it also categorizes this alert based on risk, your sensitivity risk, to see if this information in that alert contains sensitive information. What kind of sensitive information is it? Is it very sensitive? So you can grade it as high. The exfiltration risk, to see the level in which this information has been sent in the organization. Has it been sent outside the organization? as in be sent to people who are not meant to see this information, and the policy risk as well. If maybe for that particular document, if there was no policy in place as well, that shows that the policy risk is high, or the policy was configured to allow so everybody can access that sensitive information. That indicates that the policy risk for that particular information is high, and it gives you a breakdown of the related metadata and assets within that particular data or alert that has been flagged as well. So let's look at the data security posture agent for the admins, where admins need to focus on configuration, information, and all. So with this data security posture agent, the admin can just look for, if you are looking for a particular information related to a particular project, you can easily type that using your natural language. Right now, the admin is looking for product details and roadmap items related to Project Nebula. So you just put that in, and once you put that in, it gives you every information you need and tells you that, give you that right to, if you want to change the label of some of this information maybe, or you want to notify the item owners. Let's say you notice something, maybe these items are not properly labeled, you can change the label, or if you notice that they are not sensitive label as well, and you want to inform the site owners, you can also notify the item owners, and they get a message via Teams, and they can also act on it immediately. So you can get reports as well, executive summary reports, and information regarding that particular file you have searched for. Wow, what a long, long way we've gone through from talking about data security and identity visibility in Santa's AI workshop. So it's our duty as organizations, as security professionals, now to be on Santa's nice list. AI is here to stay. AI is like the new magic. But identity, visibility, and data security keeps it on the nice list. So we need proper identity, visibility, and data security. I hope I've been able to show you how you can manage your ecosystem, your agents, and your data using Microsoft Entra Agent ID and also using Microsoft Purview. It's the festive season, and the elves, we have the good elves and the naughty elves. So we have to find a way to ensure that put Santa's AI workshop in order. And in 2026, I'm sure it's going to be bigger because this year has been the year of agents. Lots of organizations are experimenting and some have started deploying agents. This is the time to think about how you put all this perspective in place to ensure you have a good ecosystem for your organization. It's the Festive Tech Calendar 2025, and of course, it's Christmas season. Sharing is caring. It will be good if you stay with me till the end of this to support the Festive Tech Calendar week as they are raising a fund for beating cancer. And you can also scan the barcode here and help us reach £1,000 target. Thank you. Remember to connect with me on LinkedIn and have a Merry Xmas and a prosperous 2026. Bye.